Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. JACALYN. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. JACALYN at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. We are so happy to have you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from in the world. This is USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK. I'm the president, founder, and chief listening officer here at our network, where we currently have 29 live broadcasts per week. Our show today is the art of creating mental health wealth, and the star of our show is backstage. Let's bring out JENETTA Barry and the Epiphany Process. Hi there.
Ta-da!
Ta-da! Ta-da!
Shall I do a high kick?
Yes.
One singular sensation. La-di-da-di-da-da-da.
Very good. Very good. Well, you're certainly in a jovial mood today. What's going on with you?
Well, you know how it is when you're extremely challenged. It's really important to see the humor in things, and this is the humor side coming out of me. We had a truck pull out all our electricity 24 hours ago, and we're on generator, and 101 people talking to me left, right, and center, and I just don't know whether I'm coming or going. So let's go into that place of going, well, let's see the humor in it. So Dr. JACALYN, thank you today. And it's great to be with you again this week, and to be able to share some exciting times together. As much I'm JENETTA Barry in the Epiphany Process, and it's an amazing process. I've got a different hat on today, a different cabaret hat. And the cabaret hat today is World Jenny's Day. And World Jenny's Day is every 10th of October. And it's become the most empowering and inspiring day for so many, especially for me. But it came from the most darkest and difficult beginnings, in that I lost my 16-year-old daughter, Jenny, to suicide after she and I argued. And it was a really difficult journey. So don't get me wrong, I'm not sitting here we're having a day of celebration on the 10th because I'm in denial. It was really, I nearly didn't make it through. And I made it. And with that, I was determined that some very important things would happen, and meaningful things, and a legacy that would be bigger than Jenny and me be left once I draw my last breath. And this Monday, the 10th, is testament to that, because that's exactly what we've done. We've taken the performing arts, theatre and film and song, and the artists who draw and paint and so on, sculpt. And we've put together a day, this the 10th of October, here on USA Global TV, where we're starting at 10 a.m. in London and completing the whole day at 10 p.m. in New York on this platform. And we're using theatre and arts and film and the arts and song and the arts and all types of arts this Monday to celebrate mental health wellness. Now you're going, why are you doing that? Well, Jenny died on World Mental Health Day. That's what 10th of October is. And I noticed over the years that as much as it was helpful, so many programs on that day concentrated on what was wrong with people, like they were broken. And I've noticed in working with people, because I work internationally online with people all over the world to help them get through feeling compromised through depression and feeling suicidal, I've noticed that there's nothing broken. There's just a lack of coping skills and a one-sided perception that they're in. And the moment they can get the bigger picture of life with the skills to communicate differently, their lives change and they never look back. So our day on the 10th isn't about how to fix broken people. It's about celebrating that there are accurate solutions out there, and you don't have to feel compromised for the rest of your life. Because at one point I thought that was me after losing Jenny. I thought I was in a lifetime emotional prison sentence. It was devastating. And here I am living a life. Don't get me wrong, that loss is there for forever. But I've got it into a place of open manageability, so that I'm in a realistic place, an actual place of actuality. And that is what Monday is all about. And the reason why I'm spending a fair amount of time about this is because today we have an exceptionally special guest on USA Global TV. And you're going, well, why special? Well, especially special to me, JENETTA, because Jenny grew up in Kenya and went to school in Kenya. And one of her very close school friends is a girl called Anita Diamond. And Anita and Jenny, I used to teach ballet at that school and many other schools, and drama. And whenever there was a ballet class, Anita and Jenny used to come along, my Jenny, and it was kind of like, this is my mum, I don't know if it's cool, or I think it's cool. And Anita used to get her all excited and say, yeah, this is wonderful, and I love ballet, and Anita loved ballet. And I have to tell you that Anita was this very quiet, she was one of my quietest students, pupils. If you said boo to Anita, it was like, wow. And sometimes she was so quiet and absorbing that it was like, well, she was a pleasure to teach, because it was like she was part of everything and not standing out. She just got on with things. And it's with that's enabled Anita, who now lives in Brisbane in Australia, to get to where she is. She blew me away several years ago when she started posting her unbelievably talented singing videos, her covers of famous people, unbelievable standard, unbelievably professional. And when I first saw them, go, is that little Anita? Amazing what she's achieved and done, and the standard of professionalism. And so I'm not going to go and spoil her thunder anymore. I am going to just quickly give you an overview of what Anita's done. She's obviously now a Brisbane-based solo artist, specializing in vocals and keys in genres such as rock, pop, and jazz. And she was a former keyboardist and vocalist for Brisbane-based band Borodino, writing and performing alternative rock songs before making her departure from the band in 2020 for her solo career. Oh my word, what a lovely, fabulous decision that was. And Anita's now focusing on recording and producing her own music, including vocal covers of popular rock and jazz ballads. And Anita was also, as I say, a close friend of Jenny's during school days, and cares really deeply about mental health issues. And she and Dr. JACALYN and I have a very special announcement to make about Anita and World Jenny's Day. So welcome, my very special Anita Diamond.
Hi, Anita. Nice to have you here. You're on mute.
Apologies. Thank you. Yeah, it's wonderful to be here. Appreciate you having me.
What time is it there where you are?
It's 11 o'clock at night, so big time difference.
Well, thank you for staying up late with us. We appreciate it.
No worries.
Anita's doing what I do later tonight at the same time, and I sit there in one of the shows going, hello everybody, it's me, it's 11 o'clock at night here in Kenya. So thank you for being here.
No, it's my pleasure. Really, really happy to be here and to be part of this wonderful World Jenny's Day. You know, it's such a fantastic way to raise awareness, and I'm just so glad that we have the ability to do something like this. You know, I think there is more like awareness being made on the issue of, you know, mental health illness. And I like to say that it's not an illness, really, it's just a condition. And I think, you know, we all have our moments, and it's not like everybody, you know, is 100% like neurotypical all the time. So I think we all have struggles, and it's just in how you deal with it and how you can recognize what it is. So yeah, I think it's fantastic to be able to bring awareness to this and to say that it's okay to not be okay.
I love that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that too. Anita, I'm just looking at your setup. That's quite an elaborate setup. Tell us about what you've got going on there.
Yes. Behind me is the studio where it's like the home studio to do recordings, where I have been doing a lot of my music, but it's also my partner's computer rig, because he does professional video game playing as well. And he streams video games, so he needs a lot of monitors, which is why it looks a bit crazy. But it's also incredibly useful for running like software for recording. So yeah, there's a lot of interfaces and things we've got plugged in there for like guitar, piano, and microphones. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on there, and that's the home studio.
I love it. I want to have a home studio one day. That's really impressive. You don't have to go anywhere or rely on anyone else. You just do it all yourself.
Yeah, it's definitely useful, although it's a huge learning curve, because I never knew how to do a lot of this, you know, by myself. But yeah, with learning how to use the software, it's definitely useful to be able to do on your own. But yeah, advice to anyone out there, it's a steep learning curve.
And so Anita, I've been wanting to ask you, I mean, you really were little Anita. My heart would go out to you, because I was little JENETTA always, and that little hasn't gone away. But did you ever dream in those days when we were together, your mum, your dad, Jenny, me, all of us in Nairobi, did you ever dream that one day you wanted to be a singer, or did you come upon it?
I think I always kind of desired to do something with either acting or singing since I was little, because I remember running around the house as a child and just singing all the time whenever I heard my parents playing any music on, like they'd often have music going from the record player or from the radio. And yeah, I think I did, but I didn't have the courage to sort of see it as like a thing that would be a career, I guess, because yeah, I was probably, you know, yeah, as you say, I was a bit shy, and I think I've always had that, where I was, you know, a bit more quiet around other people. But I think you know, when I'd be myself and I was just comfortable being me and playing, you know, games in the house and stuff, I'd be singing, and I was very chatty apparently, you know, at home. So I think I only probably got the nerves when I was around other people, but when I got comfortable, then I would open up and feel like I could actually perform. But you know, I never saw it as something I would be like a career. Yeah, I think, you know, that happened later. And even till this day, it is something I work on the side. I mean, I work as a day job in IT, which is a completely different field altogether. But so, you know, I do kind of do both at the same time, and it's not a full-time career, but still, yeah, here I am today doing it, you know, more than I probably would have dreamt as a child.
Wow. Well, you know, Anita, I have to tell you, I was doing all the stats on World Jenny's Day as we send out the promo videos for World Jenny's Day. We've been posting them regularly over the last 10 days. And I have to tell you that your promo video has had the most hits.
Oh, wow.
Out of everybody, out of Kev Orkin, who was performing with...
Don't tell Kev, though.
Don't tell Kev, or Catherine Jones for that matter, because I mean, she is one of Britain's leading opera singers. Yours is, most people have watched it and listened to it through to the end. It's like, wow, that is amazing. And the other thing I have to share with you, and you can take over from here, that I realized was when you were in the ballet with me, I did that ballet, Sleeping Beauty, and you
Yeah.
were one of the dwarves of Snow
Yes.
White and the Seven Dwarfs. Actually, in actual fact, we were putting the costumes together, and we went to another theatre to hire some of the costumes. And in that theatre were the past costumes to Madame Zerkovitz, the ballet teacher I grew up with in Kenya. And we were going through, and I was going, oh, that one's got that person's name. I remember her, and she's now living in Zanzibar. And this, and then I came across one of the dwarves' costumes, and I stopped and I went, that was my costume when I was 7 years old, and my mum made it, and I whipped it out, and you wore it because you were the same size as me at the age of 7. And I remember standing in rehearsals watching you wear my costume from when I was 7, filled with, wow, this is such an amazing moment, like 40 years later, to have you wearing my dwarf costumes. I had to share that with you. I've never told you. And that's the thing. I just love the natural progression and where it's brought things to. Would you say that time in Kenya has also helped you? The times you were in shows, did it help you or not?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Also, that is fascinating. I can't believe that. I didn't even know. Yeah. Goes to show how interesting things like, have a way of connecting up in life. But no, absolutely. Kenya would have shaped me for sure. I mean, I was so heavily involved in the drama scene there. So I did drama all the way through school. And then when I got, into high school and you got to pick what subjects you wanted to do into A-level, I still chose to do drama as one of my few subjects that I did. So yeah, it was really important to me to be on stage and, performing in some shape or form if it wasn't acting. So I think it really did shape me. And I knew a lot of people in theatre. For some reason, I think there was always that connection growing up there, that we knew people who were either working in the Kenya theatre scene or were in the schools teaching them. And I don't know if you remember Simon Smithers, but he was actually a very close family friend, and he was quite heavily involved in theatre in Kenya and in the UK. So he shaped me a lot because he would be visiting the family all the time and always, talking to me and encouraging me to keep going with it, because he knew I had that interest and he knew I had talent. And yeah, he pushed me. I mean, if it wasn't for the encouragement of people like him in Kenya, I probably wouldn't have continued, because, he gave me that strength and believed in me and said that he really wanted me to keep going and he loved what I was doing. And even up until I came to Australia, I'd be in contact with him and sending him like vocal things that I was doing or piano playing that I was doing. And he was just so excited and wanted me to keep going and kept asking, when are you going to do more? So yeah, definitely since I was a child, that had always been there. And, the fantastic schooling that we had, the system that we had that had, I think we had LAMDA, which was the London Academy of Dramatic Arts and Music. And we had to do that as a way of being certified to study it. So it was fantastic that we had that quality of education. And I think, that's something that I think very few people, have access to. So I'm very fortunate. 100% would have shaped me and has shaped me. And I'm very thankful to have had that upbringing.
Yeah. Dr. JACALYN, before you ask, because I know you've got a question there, just to add here, Anita was at the same school as Neil, my son Neil. And the other night, Anita Neil showed the pictures of the warthogs on the hockey field and so on. And that's where Anita went to.
I love it. Thanks for sharing that. I get the visual. Anita, you mentioned that you do work in IT. And IT, I love technology myself, and I had a background in IT, but in the sales aspect. And you have to follow certain guidelines, if this, then that, et cetera, et cetera. When you're singing, you just put your heart out there and follow your soul. So can you describe those two different sides of your personality?
Yeah, I know. You've hit the nail on the head there. It's just, one is very kind of, technical and regimented to an extent, I guess. And the other is very free flowing, emotional from the heart. So yeah, definitely. I think there were two sides to me. I had an interest in the arts, obviously, as I've talked about. The technical side was interesting because that came later. As I went through university, my focus was gonna be on teaching, and I still do have an interest in that. But something drew me to technology because I started meeting people who worked in that field, and I was just curious. And as time has gone on, technology has just really, really grown in leaps and bounds over the past few years, and the amazing things that you can do with it. I just had a curiosity for it, and I thought, okay, I'm going to just try this out and study. And so I ended up doing a course, and it ended up being a master's in IT. So I followed that through, and I just couldn't believe what I learnt. It was just so fascinating to see the power of what computers can do. And I started studying and going into the field of web development. So that's what I do now. So there's so many different areas as well within IT. So you could do the boring stuff, which is just sitting there coding, but part of what I do as well is also actually design and looking at how a website looks and feels. So there is a bit of artistic nature to it as well. So I like to explain to people who know me that know I love the arts, I try to say, well, it's still there. Like, I've always got that interest, and I even bring it into the technical aspect with computers, but I like being able to do both because I think it's fascinating as well to see just the mathematical straightforward nature. You tell the machine to do what you want it to do, and it'll do it. So it's like there's no like gray areas or in between. It's just straightforward. So in a way, there's something nice about that too. But being able to blend both something artistic and something technical together, I think, is quite fascinating. And I'm sure, as we go into the future, there's going to be even more amazing things coming out of the two being blended together, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, that is fascinating. I've never heard anyone describe it that way. It's sort of like the technical piece of it is sort of black and white, and there's no emotion. And then the gray is then the creative part of it.
I love that. It's so true. Wow. And has that affected your or had an effect on the way you present after having done that? Do you sing differently, or do you feel more assured, or what's it done for you there?
I'm not sure if it, I think I feel more confident. Maybe it has impacted me. Now you're making me think about it. I'm trying to think about whether that's true. I'm sure it has, because it's definitely made me feel like I can tread two different lines and two different ways of thinking. And I think even just getting your brain involved in activities that use two different hemispheres, because I imagine one would be your left brain and one would be your right brain. And I think trying to engage both is a very good thing to do, because most of the time, I think a lot of people just focus in one area and they're probably only using that one dominant side of their brain. But who knows, how much of the other side of your brain you're not using day to day that could be utilized. So in a way, I think it's good to do both, and that will shape you as a person and probably does impact your personality if your brain is being used in such a way that it's engaging both hemispheres. So I imagine even from just a psychology point of view, that's a good thing to do. And who knows, maybe that has, benefits as well for your physical health and your mental health, and therefore who you are as a person. So yeah, I think it would have affected me. I feel a lot more confident now than probably I used to in the past before I did things like this. So yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you. A follow-up question I have for you is, you're going to be performing on World Jenny's Day, and obviously it's a very sensitive and delicate subject, especially from Jenny, who was your friend. How will you keep yourself emotionally together, as opposed to just like, when I think about it, I start getting emotional. So what's your secret to be able to perform and hold it together?
I think, of course, that emotion will be there, and it's important to remember to just be human, I think, and just, if that's going to happen, and it's going to happen, that your emotion will show, but use it as a strength. So I suppose I would be trying to use it as a way to fuel my performance and put my energy into things that I'm doing on the day. But at the same time, it's all about breathing techniques for me too. I often think about how I'm breathing and just staying centered and realizing that whatever it is that's going on in my head is just there, and I can breathe and focus on the breathing and being present and being here right now, and just reminding myself that I'm here, I'm doing this, and this is what's important, and being, you know, mindful, and all of those techniques of being like practicing what you're thinking and being aware of your thoughts. And I think just staying present and in the moment is the most important thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking to myself that it's very rare that you see a performer who's actually like bawling while they're performing, right? Because then that wouldn't make it as enjoyable for the audience. So I appreciate that you shared about breathing techniques, and also there's I'm sure a certain level of professionalism that you have after you've done it so many times in front of people.
Yeah. And in fact, before we have the big reveal just now, you know, for our that's all right, but we haven't really had a half reveal. but before we have the full reveal, for our viewers and listeners, I mean, if you go to Anita's YouTube channel, it's amazing. She does Norah Jones, she does Karen Carpenter, Patsy Cline. She does so many covers so beautifully. But I mean, I often listen to them even now when I'm working. I'm going to listen to a little bit of Anita here. But I know that you've got quite a lot under or up your sleeve coming out soon of your own work. Are we allowed to hear a little bit about that? Pretty please?
Yes, I mean, of course, there's what will be happening on the day for World Jenny's Day, which will be, you know, an original for me. But there is also, a lot of work that I'm doing with my partner. We are trying to work on some tracks together where we're creating, I guess, a duo band for both of us to be involved in. So he plays guitar and he also does some singing, but it's the music is also, you know, it's a bit heavier, I suppose, than what I've got out at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see what happens if the audience sees something that hasn't been done before on my channel. But you know, it's all in my interest area, and I think the thing is with my music taste, it's very broad and very eclectic. So you know, it'll range from jazz to like heavy metal. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. But I'm quite excited. There's also a lot of stuff that is in the vein, I guess, of like Evanescence, which I've, you know, has always been close to my heart. That is what I'd like to work on as well. So, but it's in the works. So we'll see. You know, it's not out yet, but it will be soon.
Look forward to that.
How
you know,
exciting.
Dr. JACALYN, absolutely. And you know, Dr. JACALYN, Evanescence was Jenny's favorite music, their music she loved. And in actual fact, Insight was born from the piece that she loved the most at the time that she died, which was My Immortal. And it was using My Immortal and brainstorming that we came to what we're now going to announce for World Jenny's Day. It kind of gave the impetus and many other things, but it was one of the basics that got it going, was one of the basics that got Insight theatrical production going, which is a production on depression, suicide, and solutions. But Anita, would you like, in your words, let's have Anita announce what's happening on World Jenny's Day with you, Jenny, and a very special song. Over to you, my darling.
Oh, thank you very much. Yes, I am so happy to be doing the song for Jenny, which is called Resolution. And it's a piece that really is like written from the heart of what would have been from Jenny, I think. And I will be singing the song, and it's a beautiful piece that moves in through a story. And it also involves JENETTA, you two, and it's like a message between the two of you, from, you know, you speaking as though you were speaking to her, and also her and what she would say to you. And it's a beautiful song, very touching, and I'm moved to be able to sing a piece with so much emotion in it. Even in the process as I've been working on the track now, it's just been incredible, but also, yeah, very, very, emotional for me to even do. But it's been a wonderful experience to put in my creative input to it. So the way I've done the song is also in the way that I would like to sing it, and bringing in my inspirations of music that suit my voice. So you'll hear probably elements of like the Carpenters in it too, and how it's sung, but also some of my original work in it. So yeah, so fantastic to be working on this track, and I'm excited when it'll be released on World Jenny's Day on the 10th.
Woo! Yay, that is exciting. Can we reveal during which hour Anita will be performing?
Yeah, we can. It'll be early on in the day because of Anita being in Australia. So our first hour, I can tell you now, is going to be the backstory of how World Jenny's Day came about. So that'll be a bit of a backstory on that and why there is a World Jenny's Day and so on. And then we're going into Insight. And then from there, talking about Insight, and also we're going to have Origins Dance Company, who helped put Insight together with me 3-4 years ago. And then we're going into the Jenny song after that. So it's early on in the day, and in the next few days, we'll be releasing the schedule onto social media, so people go, oh, I want to tune in there, or I want to listen to this. So I'm telling everybody now, if you don't want to miss out, look for that schedule, because Anita's going to be on it, and we're going to be releasing for the first time worldwide release of that song early on in World Jenny's Day. So that'll be round about 12ish in UK, and round about 10ish in US, and you've got to be there. So just look out on social media. Be amazing. And Dr. JACALYN, some of our viewers and listeners will know Madeline Chan, who is also another co-host on USA Global TV and works with you with elevated listening training. And what a big heart this lady has. And it's really this whole project with Anita and the song was born from that lady. And she's brought in lyricists and record producers, and it's just been an amazing experience as they pulled out of me. I had to be very real and raw when we were brainstorming this, and pulled out of me, what didn't work and where my anger had been and what had happened. And in fact, the conversation in that song between Jenny and me was born from another song that I had heard. And I thought one day I'm going to do something about that song. And instead of that song, it's birthed this one. So, for me, this is such an amazing international feeling of teamwork. USA Global TV and you, Dr. JACALYN, Anita over on the other side with that feeling of she wished she'd had that last conversation with Jenny and didn't. And me and Madeline and Audi, the lyricist, and Martin, the record producer. And what an amazing heart-opening synergy that is. My heart's so full. It's just like, whoa. I could cry with such appreciation for what this has created.
So beautiful. And it reminds me of the name of your book, Full Circle Rainbow. It sounds just like full circle with the beautiful rainbow at the end, this whole process here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm looking forward so much to hearing it. We've got a rehearsal coming up, haven't we? A tech rehearsal, Anita. I've been doing tech rehearsals with different people all around the world as well. So we've got one coming up. I can't wait because I haven't heard her sing it yet. I haven't heard you sing it yet, Anita. So
I know.
I'm going to get a sneak listen before Monday.
Is that open to the public? No, I'm just kidding.
No. You can join us.
Okay.
You definitely can join us. But for the rest of the world, tune in on Monday. Don't miss it.
Fantastic. And Jeanette, I just wanted to say, I think you said 12 UK time. That would be 7 a.m. US time, I believe.
Yes, sorry. Let me get this right. I'll get there. Yes, I'm not thinking straight. I'm thinking Kenya UK time. So it's round about, it might be actually a bit later. I'm busy talking through the back of my head, really, because it's such a long day. But it is early on in the day, and it will be revealed to all. So just have a look, see.
Just look for that schedule. It'll be forthcoming on Friday.
Yes, it's coming. It's coming.
Fantastic. Well, as we come towards the end of our show, Anita, what would you like to share with the audience about, people are out there and they like to sing in the shower, maybe they're singing in the car, and people say, oh, you have a really good voice, you should do something about it. What tips do you have for aspiring artists who are still afraid to come forward?
Yeah, well, it's something I'm very passionate about, is actually encouraging people to pursue an interest like that if they do want to sing. And in fact, not just if they do, but just to give it a go. You never know if you can. It's like the old saying is, everybody can if they put their mind to it. It's not a question of, do you have to be a professional before you can do something like that? So, definitely get involved. The first thing that I would do is, start getting involved in like a local community group. Maybe that's easy, like a choir, because those are avenues where you can start to learn like the different techniques in a way that's also fun and enjoyable. And you get to meet other people who might have different levels of experience and who can share with you their knowledge as well. And beyond that, if you want, yes, definitely get lessons. Vocal training is really useful and important, but there's so many useful places online now. So I would say get onto YouTube. There are some fantastic people who are doing free videos training you on breathing techniques and different singing techniques and, whatever avenue that you're interested in. If it's like a particular genre of music, there's so much out there. So we're very lucky with the information age that we have now, that we have this on our fingertips. But don't be afraid. Remember that, you can do it, and it can be quite a cathartic and enjoyable experience to sing, because it's something that really, unlike any other instrument, you don't need to necessarily learn in a sense that's like very regimented. It's from your heart. It's from you. You are your instrument. So there's nothing more powerful, I think, than that, in a way, to sing directly from your heart and be you. So yeah, don't be afraid. Do it. Don't think that you can't. Anybody can, and everybody can. And the first place to start is to just give it a go, sing along to a song that you like and that and get involved.
Great motivation. Thank you. Anita, what do you do to warm your voice up or keep your vocal cords in shape before you perform?
The main thing I do is scales at the piano. So I've been doing that for years, and it is the standard, underrated in a way, because of just how useful you can just sit down and start doing your scale. So I start in the range that I'm comfortable in singing in, which is usually a lower G, and I start practicing from lower G all the way up the scales to probably the next octave, which would be the next G. But yes, doing scales, so your usual, and just keep going up, or doing arpeggios, singing that on the piano as well. It's really important to also practice by moving your mouth in a way that is a training technique. So it's a strange one, but you actually basically do a strange noise with your mouth and sing it in the key. So you do that with your lips, but it's really important to move the muscles on your face as well, because they need to be warmed up just as much as your actual vocals. There's another technique called vocal fry, which is where you sing, and in a sense, you're not actually singing out a note, but you're just scratching. It almost sounds like you're scratching your throat, but it's actually warming up your throat. So if you look up the technique vocal fry, that's also incredibly useful. Scaling down in arpeggios as well is another technique I use. and doing songs where you actually are learning through on the keys, just saying words like "my mother makes me eat marshmallows on a Monday morning" or something like that, because using those M sounds and trying to sing that over and over again actually really helps with warming up your mouth and your vocals too, and your tongue. So yeah, plenty of really good techniques like that are what I do. And then breathing techniques of just holding in from your diaphragm and learning that you need to sing from there. So breathing techniques as I do my vocal warm-up through the scales is what I do.
Thank you so much. I never heard that one. My mother makes marshmallows on a Monday morning.
Yes. There's so many
really
different versions. It's like my mother mashes M&Ms on a Monday morning.
and then you can finish it off saying, I have a mugger rush, as in sugar rush. Then
yes, any alliteration.
Let's all try it together, shall we? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, it sounds so strange. People think that, you know, if they hear me, they probably think I'm going mad, but you've got to know what's going on to understand.
If not, why not? Well, I've done my bit. I started this show with a cabaret piece, so, you know, it's over to somebody else now. Done my bit.
Anita, I was wondering, we have all of your social media, but I don't see the YouTube link. What is the name of your YouTube channel?
It's just Anita Diamond. So just my name as you see it, Anita Diamond. If you search for that on YouTube, you'll find my channel.
Perfect. All right, everyone search for it and subscribe, please.
Please.
So as we close out the show, I'm going to spotlight you, Anita. And for people who cannot read, where to contact you in the comments, maybe they're listening on the radio or they're on a podcast platform later. What's the best way? You mentioned YouTube. Is there anywhere else you want to send people?
Primarily YouTube. And if you do have Spotify, yeah, I would love it if you could go onto Spotify. Once again, it's Anita Diamond, just my name as it is, Anita Diamond on Spotify. I have all of my recorded tracks there that are done professionally as well. These are just the covers as well at the moment, but I will be putting my originals onto there too. So yes, get onto Spotify, and YouTube would be my primary ones, but I'm on every single streaming platform for music. So if you have Apple Music or you have Google, I'm on there as well as Deezer, which is another platform. So any of the online streaming music platforms.
All right, fantastic. It's been an absolute pleasure meeting you, and I'm excited for this rehearsal. I look forward to getting the invitation, JENETTA.
Deal.
All right. Anita, thank you for staying up late with us and for inspiring us and for your beautiful smile and your energy.
Oh, thank you. It's a pleasure to be able to be here.
All right. Thank you. Have a good night's sleep.
I will. Thank you.
All right. See you on Monday. Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for bringing Anita to the platform. I really enjoyed meeting her.
Yeah, she's a special soul. And it's amazing how the synergy of all this working, the timing, everything, it's almost like it's preordained. And what I couldn't ask for a more precious soul to do all this with.
Yeah, she really is talented and so gifted. I just shared her YouTube channel link, so please do take a look. I had her banner up before, but it was taking up half her face, so I quickly brought it back down because it was such a big banner. So
it's like, where's Anita?
See the top of her head. So to our audience watching, please do go over to her YouTube channel. Again, it's Anita Diamond, Anita Diamond. JENETTA Barry, you have your Talking Head segment coming up right after this. Tell us what we can expect.
Wow, yes. This weekly Talking Heads is just so inspiring for me to be able to share all my research and study. And obviously my life test has given me so much of this knowledge as well. And today we're talking about responding to what's not said in relationships and processing rather than knee-jerk responding. And I think that's a biggie for most of us. I mean, I still do knee-jerk respond. Don't think I'm like, wow, I've got it all sorted. But the difference is I have the skills and techniques to do something before that knee-jerk response comes out. So please join me just now. At the top of the hour, I will be starting with my Talking Heads episode then.
Thanks, Jenetta. And what's your contact information, please?
Yes, it's theepiphanyprocess.com, or you can get hold of me at JENETTA at theepiphanyprocess.com if you'd like to start new conversations that come from a place of feeling centered and clear and certain about what it is you do and you don't want. Instead of feeling out of sorts a lot of the time, speak to me, because I used to be the most confused person after Jenny died, and now I can get very clear, very, very clear in seconds. Having a conversation today with someone, I was able to peel away the story they were running and say, no, this is it. And that's what the epiphany process does. So I look forward to having you.
Thank you so much, Jenetta. Appreciate it. All right, Jenetta and I are signing off. Jenetta and I are signing off. And I'll be producing her show, and she will be leading you in her fabulous sharing of all the knowledge and expertise that she has. So do stay with us. We'll be back in less than 15 minutes. Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks, Anita. Thanks, Jenetta.
Bye, everybody. Love
Bye.
you, Anita. Love
Bye.
you, everybody else. Bye.
Bye.